In 1953, I was given a copy with this, along with all the other boys and girls in Nottinghamshire, and it's the New Testament from the Holy Bible, and it's dedicated to the boys and girls of Nottinghamshire because we belong, all of us, to the British Commonwealth and Empire, that immense union of nations with their homes set in all the four corners of the earth. And this could not be given today, but it does epitomise the fact that Christianity and education were one and the same thing in the world I was brought up in. And we had morning prayers every day in every school I went to. I went to 6 different types of schools. They weren't all Christian schools, most of them were secular, but you still had morning prayers and morning assembly, and it was part and parcel of the way of life. It was not the sort of Christianity you see in churches now, which is happy clappy and God is lovely, and that is more admonishment one where you had to behave yourself, a fire and brimstone services and things like that, and also to do with service and to do with being brave and fighting for right and all that sort of thing. But that disappeared over the next 30 years or so. So by the time I went to America in 1984, it's surprising to me to actually see a situation where I was like walking back into my own past, not just in terms of back to having yards and feet and inches, which I tried to forget, but I still can't, but never taught the metric system, but also in the way that Christianity and religion generally pervaded everything. There was no question that a person could get on in politics without saying they were religious. Nobody could be elected president of the United States and say they were an atheist at all, and it's still the same today. But what I'm going to think about at this moment in time is how I got from there to actually going to Israel, because when I got back to England, I think I was trying to find myself in a way to find out what all this was about, because it was like going back into a secular society. So what I did, I decided to go to the fount of Christianity, to go to Jerusalem and to Bethlehem and make some works about those places. Onward, Christian soldiers, marching as to war, with the cross of Jesus going on before. Christ the royal master leads against the foe, forward into battle, see his banners go. Well, the first place I went to was Bethlehem, and this is at Christmas, Bethlehem there, and I photographed a manger square with the church of the Nativity where Christ is supposed to have been born, and I put a sort of, you can see the Star of the East above the top there. I actually photographed that, I think, back in Shropshire, and giving away trade secrets now. But there you can see a man actually leading a donkey with a woman on the back. I don't know how I managed to get that, but I did. There, just there, you see. That's extraordinary. And then from there, I went on to the next place, of course. One of the most important places was the place where Jesus was put to death, which was the, according to Gordon of Khartoum, one who was a real muscular Christianity guy, was just here, and he said it was the place of the where Christ was brought to death, Golgotha, which means the place of the skull, and the skull is on the left. I'll show you a bit of that in a minute. But the centre of it now is a Palestinian bus park. You get a bus there to places like Bethlehem, and if you look at the close up there, you might be able to see the place of the skull. Can you see a skull in the rock there, a face? Well, that's what he saw, looking at you, just about the eyes there and there, and the mouth down here. Yes. And the last place I went to was the Ascension, where Christ's Ascension is supposed to have taken place, and that was now a scene of violence, because on the ground, you can't see it in this close-up, but lots of rubber bullet cases, caskets, and a beautiful 3rd to 4th century chapel at the top, obscured behind the trees, where the ascension's supposed to have taken place from. But it was a very tense time there. It was very tense because it was 1990 and it was on the eve of the first Gulf War, and Iraq was threatening to rocket Israel. We were issued with gas masks, and it was quite frightening to be there actually, but I tried to stick it out. Onward, Christian soldiers, marching us to war, with the cross of Jesus going on before. At the sign of triumph, Satan's host does flee. On then, Christian soldiers, unto victory. Heaven held forever at the shout of praise. Brothers, lift your voices, loud your anthems raise. Onward, Christian soldiers, marching as to war, with the cross of Jesus going on before. And a few days after I left, the first Gulf War started, and I got out in time, but it's extraordinary that that area of the world, the Holy Land, has always been a scene of conflict, and it looks as though it always will be.